2002 National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not stipulate a requirement for a receptacle to be installed at or near the service panel in a single-family dwelling. While the presence of such a receptacle is a common practice and often considered convenient for maintenance and testing, it is not mandated by the code. The absence of a specific requirement in the NEC means that the decision to install a receptacle near the service panel is left to the discretion of the installer, the homeowner, or local building codes, which may impose additional requirements beyond the national code. It is important to consult local amendments to the NEC and any applicable building codes in the specific jurisdiction to determine if there are any local requirements regarding receptacles at service panels. These local codes can vary significantly from the national standard and may include specific provisions for the placement and type of receptacle required. Considerations for the installation of a receptacle near the service panel, even when not required, often include the convenience of having a power source readily available for testing equipment, power tools, and other electrical devices during maintenance or troubleshooting activities. A nearby receptacle can eliminate the need for extension cords or temporary power sources, improving safety and efficiency. When installing a receptacle near the service panel, adherence to all applicable electrical codes and safety standards is essential. This includes using appropriately rated wiring and overcurrent protection, as well as ensuring that the receptacle is properly grounded. The type of receptacle chosen should also be suitable for the anticipated usage and environment. Ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection may be required in certain locations, such as damp or wet environments. The location of the receptacle should be carefully considered to prevent accidental damage or obstruction. It should be readily accessible for use, but positioned so that it does not interfere with access to the service panel or other electrical equipment. Adequate clearance should be maintained around the receptacle to allow for the safe and convenient use of electrical cords and equipment. In summary, while the 2002 NEC does not require a receptacle near a single-family dwelling service panel, local codes or practical considerations may warrant its installation. If installed, the receptacle must comply with all applicable electrical codes and safety standards. The decision to install a receptacle at the service panel should be based on a careful assessment of the specific needs and circumstances, taking into account both the potential benefits and the relevant code requirements. It's always best to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations and to ensure the safe and reliable operation of the electrical system. If there is no need for a 120 volts receptacle near the service panel, it is all right to omit it. But if there is a need to use a receptacle there, then be sure to install one that is up to the safety standards in the NEC and local regulations. In addition to the convenience and safety aspects, consider future needs when deciding whether to install a receptacle near the service panel. As technology advances and electrical systems become more complex, the need for a readily available power source for testing and maintenance may increase. Installing a receptacle during the initial construction or renovation phase can save time and effort in the long run. When selecting a location for the receptacle, consider the potential for future expansion or modifications to the electrical system. Choose a location that will remain accessible and convenient even if additional equipment is installed in the area. Also, keep in mind any potential hazards, such as water pipes or other utilities, that could pose a risk to the receptacle or its users. Proper grounding is critical for the safe operation of any electrical receptacle, including those installed near service panels. Ensure that the receptacle is connected to a properly grounded circuit and that the grounding conductor is of the correct size and type. If the service panel is located in a damp or wet environment, such as a basement or garage, consider using a weather-resistant receptacle and cover to protect against moisture and corrosion. GFCI protection is also recommended in these locations to reduce the risk of electric shock. When running wiring to the receptacle, follow all applicable electrical codes and best practices. Use appropriately sized conductors and conduit to protect the wiring from damage. Ensure that all connections are made securely and that the wiring is properly supported and secured. If you are not comfortable working with electrical wiring, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to perform the installation. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to avoid injury or property damage. Before starting any electrical work, always disconnect the power to the circuit at the service panel. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is de-energized before touching any wires or terminals. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and insulated gloves. If you are unsure about any aspect of the electrical installation, consult with a qualified electrician. In addition to the technical considerations, it is also important to consider the aesthetic aspects of the receptacle installation. Choose a receptacle and cover that are compatible with the surrounding decor and that blend in seamlessly with the service panel and other electrical equipment. Avoid using excessively large or bulky receptacles that could detract from the overall appearance of the space. Consider using a recessed receptacle or a receptacle with a low-profile cover to minimize its visual impact. If the service panel is located in a visible area, such as a hallway or living room, it may be desirable to conceal the receptacle behind a decorative panel or cover. This can help to create a more clean and polished look. However, it is important to ensure that the receptacle remains readily accessible for use and that the cover does not obstruct access to the service panel. When installing a receptacle near a service panel, it is also important to consider the potential for electromagnetic interference or EMI. Service panels can generate significant amounts of EMI, which can interfere with the operation of sensitive electronic equipment. To minimize the risk of EMI, locate the receptacle as far away from the service panel as possible. Use shielded wiring and conduit to reduce the amount of EMI radiated by the wiring. Consider using a line filter or surge protector to further protect sensitive electronic equipment from EMI. The NEC provides detailed requirements for the installation of electrical receptacles, including those installed near service panels. These requirements cover a wide range of topics, including receptacle spacing, mounting height, wiring methods, grounding, and GFCI protection. It is essential to familiarize yourself with these requirements before starting any electrical work. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to ensure that you are using the most current version of the code. Local jurisdictions may also have their own amendments to the NEC, so it is important to check with your local building department to determine the specific requirements in your area. In addition to the NEC, there are also a number of other standards and guidelines that may be relevant to the installation of electrical receptacles. These include standards from organizations such as the National Electrical Manufacturers Association, or NEMA, and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These standards provide detailed information on the design, construction, and testing of electrical equipment. They can be a valuable resource for electricians and other professionals involved in the installation and maintenance of electrical systems. When selecting electrical equipment, it is important to choose products that are listed by recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, or UL. UL listing indicates that the product has been tested and found to comply with applicable safety standards. Using UL-listed products can help to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. In summary, while the 2002 NEC does not require a receptacle near a single-family dwelling service panel, there are a number of factors to consider when deciding whether to install one. These factors include the convenience of having a readily available power source, the potential for future needs, the aesthetic aspects of the installation, and the risk of electromagnetic interference. If a receptacle is installed, it must comply with all applicable electrical codes and safety standards. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations and to ensure the safe and reliable operation of the electrical system. It's worth noting that the NEC is a living document that is constantly evolving to reflect changes in technology and safety practices. While the 2002 edition did not mandate a receptacle at the service panel, subsequent editions may have introduced new requirements or recommendations. Therefore, it is crucial to consult the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local codes to ensure compliance with current regulations.